Welcome back to Talkin to Teens show. Today, we are going to talk about what makes you unsure, insecure. Also, within that, we're going to talk about what is being insecure, signs that you are insecure, and what causes you to be unsure or insecure. Okay. And what can you do about being unsure and insecure? All right. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we even get into that, I would like to ask you to put in the comments what you think makes people unsure. Okay. What makes people insecure? So you let me know because believe it or not, hey, I actually do really want to know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are. And hey, you can even let me know what show you would like to have and what you'd like to see and what you'd like to hear since you are making a comment. All right. Also, in these shows, I have some polls, surveys, questionnaires, whatever it is you want to call them, for you to check out, all right, and to give a response to. So check that out, respond to that, give an answer, okay, and that would be super fantastic. So today, we're just going to get right into it, and we are going to talk about what makes you unsure about things, what makes you insecure. Sometimes I think, you know what, you don't even know that you are. So insecure, okay? And a lot of teens are. And hey, you're going to be happy to know that it's not just a teen thing, okay? Adults are insecure as well and can be. So this is not just because you're a teenager that you're suddenly insecure and that you're so unsure about things because, hey, you know what? I qualify for that too. And sometimes is what happens though is we don't even recognize it when we're young. So then we take that into our adulthood. And so many times because we don't recognize it. So hey, if you don't recognize it, then hey, you cannot change it, can you? Because you cannot change what you don't recognize. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. So if you are insecure right now, if you are so unsure about so many things that where it has basically become who you are, it has become your life, it has become something that's so like normal for you now because it's just every day that's what you are, that's what you do, that's kind of what rolls through your mind, and it's something that you don't even realize that that's what you have become. I want you to think back maybe to where that kind of started for you, okay? But I want you to think about that like right now because I'm not going to talk about that yet, but I want you to start kind of thinking about that because that might be something that you might have to think about, and not only at the length of this show time, but days to come. Okay. So, what actually is being insecure? What is even unsure? But really, the insecurity. Okay. Because even though those words, being unsure is a sign, whatever, of being insecure. Okay. But, and I won't necessarily say a sign of it, but it kind of means the same thing. Okay. Unsure is you can be insecure by being unsure. Okay. Hope that makes sense. All right. So if it doesn't, hey, let me know. Okay. So what is being insecure? All right. Well, hey, I'm glad you asked. Being insecure is that you're just uneasy, right? Actually, here I'm going to read some words off, okay, that I put down here. Being insecure, all right, is afraid, anxious, apprehensive, hesitant, shaky, which like doesn't necessarily mean that you are shaky, that you are shaking, okay, but your thoughts are like you're just like, gosh, I just don't know, I'm scared, I don't understand, I don't know what I'm doing. Touchy means, it doesn't mean that you are touchy, okay, to somebody. That's not what it means, but it means that when people are saying things to you, you're very touchy, okay, like kind of just mean and grumpy about it because you're insecure. All right. Troubled, uptight, careful, okay, which can be like overly cautious. It's okay to be careful, all right? But when you're insecure, you are like extremely careful, all right? You're concerned, distressed, fearful, nervous, restless, scared, and uneasy. So all of those words combine and can make insecurity. Okay. That's kind of what insecure is all of those words. And when you are insecure, all right, then it causes a lot of just, fearfulness within yourself. Okay. So what is being insecure is all of that. And this is like when people are insecure, and they're fearful and they're scared and they're nervous and they have all of these thoughts just rolling through their head, and they look to other people to kind of build their security, and they attach themselves to people because they are so unsure of themselves. Okay. And in the midst of that, then you have all these emotions, right? That's just racing through and you don't know what to do and you're just scared. So then you just kind of attach yourself to somebody that's going to, in your mind, then help you. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. But that's not necessarily the case, because a lot of teenagers, like I said, you're insecure. So then you're insecure. You're hanging out with people who are so insecure, and then you're all just kind of insecure, unsure together. So that is like, okay, what is insecurity? And it's just that, you're just so unsure of your own self, of your decisions, of what you do. That is what like insecurity is, that you cannot make decisions. You're not strong enough to even know that what you're doing is right, that you doubt yourself all of the time. That is what insecurity is. Okay. Signs that you are insecure is just that, again, that you're constantly doubting. Okay. And sometimes we do doubt ourselves. Okay. And that's kind of, hey, a lot of that is normal in the sense like you're not like a weirdo and oh my gosh, look at you. Okay. Because you have insecurities. You're not different. You're not abnormal because you have those things. Most of us do. All right. Hey, like I said, I qualify for this too. And even just doing this podcast, hey, there's been a lot of insecurities within myself here, thinking like, oh my gosh, okay, where I almost didn't do this. It's like, no, Shawna, you know what? You really can't do this. And why are you going to? Hey, that's an insecurity that I have had. But you know what? I said, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to plug it in and I'm just going to do this show. And here I am just doing it. And it doesn't mean that I don't have these insecurities that build right back up again to tell me, no, you don't need to do this. But I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I've had way too many teenagers come up to me and tell me, when are you going to do this? When are you going to? When, Shawna? And here it is. It's a win-win. All right. So here I am. But I'm not exempt from insecurities. Okay. No person is. But signs that you are insecure, okay, is just that, is that you doubt a lot, that you are just so untrusting with yourself, that you feel like you cannot make a decision, that you attach yourself to, again, like I said, people who you think will kind of just like guide you through life, guide you through things. And then you attach yourself to these people. But it doesn't mean that they're secure either. All right. You just kind of attach yourself to someone that you think. And a lot of that too is because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be left out. So then sometimes you attach yourself to people that, hey, you should not be attaching yourself to. And in the midst of what that looks like, okay, so many girls, their insecurities are this, even this is a sign, okay, that you all have to dress the same, exactly the same, that you're so insecure, you are so unsure with yourself that you need to look exactly like them. You need to wear the exact same things that they are wearing. And it's okay that sometimes you wear the same stuff, and you're going to go somewhere and you kind of dress the same. But every single day, that is a major sign of insecurity, okay? Because why don't you have an opinion? Why can't you so-called stray from what everybody else is looking like? Why can't you dress the way you really want to? Unless really, do you really want to just look like everybody all of the time? Every day, have the same hairstyle, have the same outfit, have the same shoes, wear always what everybody else is wearing. Because guess what? No, you don't have to. All right. And sometimes the insecurities are there. This is what it looks like. These are signs, is because you are so insecure. The sign is, I'm so insecure that I don't want to step outside the box, the boundary of what everybody else has, what everybody else is doing. And I don't want to have my own opinion. See, those are signs, all right, that You are insecure. You want to look like everybody else. You want to dress like everybody else. You want to think like everybody else. You want to have the same everything like everyone else because you're afraid that then those people that you're hanging out with, they're not going to like you anymore. So then your insecurity keeps you, like I said, attached to people that don't necessarily, care about you. All right. And sometimes it's a lot of the so called popular group that really they're extremely insecure and everybody just wants to just kind of cling to each other because they're so unsure of themselves. All right. So those are some signs. And in the midst of those insecurities, in the midst of those unsure feelings, then sometimes you just go along with the crowd, you know? Doesn't really mean you want to, but you don't even have an opinion because you are so unsure of yourself. It's okay for you to have an opinion, all right? It's okay for you to stand up and speak up and say something about things, all right? And in the midst of that, sorry to say, you might lose some so called friends. And isn't that a show we did already? Yes, it is. So you can go back and watch that. All right. Other signs for you being insecure and unsure. I think those were some pretty good signs right there that you, like I said, that you yourself cannot ever have an opinion, that you just don't have anything, that you just want to follow what everybody else is doing. And those are signs with what insecure is. You being so unsure of everything that you do. And that is what it is when you're so unsure. It's like a mannerism. So I don't know if you notice it in yourself or in other people, that it's your body language, okay? And in the midst of your body language, you just become very like, you know, girls that are standing there, they're so unsure of themselves, they're so insecure, and they want to look like everybody else, but then at the same time, they don't necessarily like the way they look because they're insecure. You can see that in the faces of people in the midst of this unsure, these insecurities. A lot of people go and get into relationships that, that they know that they really should not be in, and it's not like a healthy relationship, but because they're so insecure, they stay in it. Even this guy, I remember he was going to get married and we're all in the car hanging out, and he says to us, like his wedding is like in a month or if even sooner than that, and he's saying, really, this is as good as it gets. Now, the girl he was going to marry was super, let's see, what's the word I want to say? A gold digger. Okay. Super gold digger is what she was, slash, probably still is. And so then because of him being so insecure, this is what he says. Well, you know what? This is as good as it's going to get. I'm not going to get anything better. Well, hey, I got to tell you, is that better? Is it? No, it is not. All right. When he already knows what kind of woman she's going to be and what kind of wife she's going to be, he already knew that. But because he was so insecure with himself, he just went along with it and got married and did that anyway because of his insecurity. So that's the sign, isn't it? You're so insecure that you stay with someone and it doesn't matter what really or who really they are, and you can see that, but because you know what, it's not going to get any better than this, you settle. That's what you're doing, and that's what he did. He settled, and you don't have to settle, all right, because of insecurities, but we do, because we're so unsure, because we're so afraid, because we don't want to step out, because we don't want to look like ourself. And so many times you're so unsure, and you have gotten, like I said, where that's become normal that you don't even know who yourself is. And that's going to be in another show, okay, is your identity. And that show is coming up soon, okay? So you can keep looking out for that one. In the midst of the insecurity, like I said, you don't have to be that. So other things that cause you to be unsure, insecure is kind of, yeah, yourself, circumstances, your parents. Now, hey, again, I'm not bashing on your parents, okay? But sometimes that can be teachers. people that we just hang around. And a lot of times this too. So I don't know what you put in this comment section, but sometimes we get so insecure is because of jealousy. So the jealousy part, you get jealous of someone else, and then that makes you insecure because maybe you think they're prettier than you. Or for the guy, he always has a better girlfriend than I have. He's better at sports than me. So that makes you insecure, where you put yourself lower than other people. And you think, you know what, I could never be good at that because look how good they are. So that's an insecurity. And those are things that will cause insecurities because you are constantly looking to see how much better someone else is. And then you don't acknowledge that, hey, you know what? I do have some skills here. You know what? I can play this sport pretty darn good. Here's the deal, especially girls. You compare yourself to other girls, and that's partly why you want to dress the same as them because you don't want to go out of the box. But your beauty and how pretty you are is from the inside. So it doesn't even matter how beautiful someone is on the outside. Here's my story, too. Oh my golly. So I remember I was walking in the mall and this group of teenagers, okay, because I got to tell you, teenagers are still have been near and dear to my heart. So I see this group of teens and no, okay, I'm not going to run and go talk to them. Okay. Like, of course I want to. All right. But, I saved the crazy for later. And so I see this group of teens and they're standing there and I'm just walking, they're standing over here and I'm walking, just getting closer because where I want to go is wherever else. I have to walk by them to get to where I want to go. So they're all talking. And this girl, oh my golly, I'm telling you, she is like a model. She is so beautiful, like even from the distance, okay? Because sometimes people are really, really attractive from the distance, aren't they? And you're like, wow, look at them. And then you get closer and like, ew, look at them. Gross. What was I thinking? And then you want to make a quick turnaround, don't you? And you're like, oh, okay. So, all right. So this girl, she was extremely beautiful, gorgeous model. And from the distance, as I got closer, yeah, she's still very beautiful. As I still get closer, I can hear her talking. So in the midst of all these teenagers, I don't know, there's probably like 6 of them. And she is F bombing this, that, and every other word. And instantly, all of that outward beauty of drop dead gorgeous, she could have been on any magazine because she was, I'm serious, like that absolute gorgeous. But because of what's coming out of her mouth, because of her insecurity. So she wants to fit in with her conversation. So she's talking like that. I mean, like I said, F this, F that. I mean, and loud too. It wasn't like they were just in the midst of, and it came out just like a little bit. No, it was like a lot, every other word. So, I wasn't hanging out there. It was me passing by. And that was how much she was saying it in the midst of my, 5 seconds walking by. Because of her insecurity, she did not even realize how beautiful, how gorgeous she really was. But again, on the outside, okay? Because of our insecurity, that's what it can do to us is we get so focused on wanting to fit in and we're so unsure of ourselves and we're so insecure that we start becoming someone that, wow, you know what, that you really aren't. And sometimes you become someone that you really don't even like because you're so caught up with fitting in because you're so unsure and insecure of who you are. Okay. So her, of course, I didn't ever see her again, didn't talk to her or anything like that. But I've never forgotten that. But I got to tell you, it wouldn't have been hard for anyone to gravitate to her because of her beauty. But the things that she started saying and was talking and when she opened her mouth, then it was like, wow, all that just got sucked out of her. That is a major insecurity with the way you talk, the things that come out of your mouth because you want to fit in, because you're unsure and you want to be liked and you think that's what you have to do in order to fit in and be liked and be with the in crowd and have other people think that you're cool or whatever it is, the feeling that you have. And again, this isn't just a girl thing. This is definitely guys too. So many times, so much of this stuff goes to girls. Well, she's acting like that because of, she. The differences with guys is they don't necessarily call it, like because they're so, insecure with themselves that they don't think that they need to be talking to anybody. They don't need to be having conversations with anyone. They're so unsure with who they are that they think, they just got to keep it in because no one wants to talk to another guy because why would I want to do that? That's dumb. That's stupid. They don't care. And yeah, they do. Guys do care. Guess what? You know what? Gosh darn it, guys have feelings too. And yeah, you do talk sometimes to other people, and guys will talk to girls and vice versa. And hey, and that's okay, isn't it? That's all right too. But it's okay to acknowledge your insecurities. It's okay to acknowledge where you're unsure. And it's okay to talk to your parents about these things because guess what? Your parents actually care about you. They want to help you. Yes, they do. And you need to let them. All right. But they can't help you when you are not letting them and other people. And hey, again, in this, my Lily commercial, when she's the one that gave me that idea to say, you know what, hey, you need to ask teenagers if there's something that they feel uncomfortable about talking with their parents about, that they can talk to you and they can ask you, and you can contact me, all right, through put a message down here, maybe some Snapchat, some Messenger, all right. I'm sure you'll find a way because you're a teenager and teenagers are really good at finding a way. So I want to thank you in advance for that. So, anyway, the insecurities, okay, and the unsure, and you're being afraid. And for guys, I would say a major thing is sports. And even when it comes to girls, when we talked in a earlier show, that sometimes the insecurities is you need to have a relationship all of the time, that you're so insecure that you don't even know who you are, that you're so insecure that you just want to have a boyfriend, that you want to have a girlfriend, and you think that is going to be the way to either again fit in, it's going to be the way to popularity, it's going to be the way to make you feel better, and that is definitely not the case, is it? No, it's not. Even when I talked about being unsure and being insecure within your home life. And when I said, sometimes the way we are raised, the way our home life is, again, like I said, I'm not trying to bash on your parents, okay? But sometimes, hey, within the midst of our home, it's not a perfect environment, which, hey, nothing is perfect. Sometimes some of that comes from you, the teenager, because your emotions and your hormones are like a roller coaster. So parents don't know how to talk with you, and they don't know, like, oh my gosh, okay, what are they going to be like now where they feel like they're on eggshells? Sometimes you, as the teenager, need to cut your parents some slack here and not be so mad and angry with them about every little thing. And maybe within your home, you're not always encouraged, and that can actually cause insecurity. And sometimes parents just don't even know. And sometimes parents, hey, they do need to parent a little bit better. All right. Now, I'm not saying this so you can be like, oh, I knew it. I knew it was my mom and dad. I knew it was their fault. So that's not what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So definitely not. But as what I'm saying is sometimes you don't have this great, wonderful home life. And then a lot of that then pushes you out the door to go find security. And sometimes you then go and find that security in a relationship. And because they're maybe giving you some attention, they're talking to you, they're being nice to you, and they're just showing you some affection, that those are things that you're missing at home. So then you leave and you go and you try to find that security somewhere else. And when you do that, that actually definitely can lead you down a path that, that you might look back someday and be like, wow, you know what, I was a little too insecure, and then I jumped into this relationship and I really shouldn't have done that. So that'll definitely be something else that we're going to talk about too, okay, in a further show with more relationship stuff, okay? Because I got a lot to talk about with that stuff for you. So keep paying attention to that show as well. Also, I'm going to even do some shows that will be live. So when I do a live show, that is something that you can plug into and respond to with a live show. So that's kind of excited. I'm actually looking forward to that because I really do want to know what you have to say, especially when it's live, right? That's going to be fun. Also within the insecurities, those words that I gave to you, which we know were you being anxious, afraid, the apprehensive, hesitant, touchy, troubled, uptight, careful, concerned, distressed, fearful, nervous, restless, scared, uneasy. With all of that, someone that has those feelings, this show is really going to resonate with you. And you're really going to be like, wow, I didn't even realize that's who I have been. If that makes sense again. Okay, sometimes I say things and I don't know if it's like really coming across the way I want it to sound, but I'm going to just act like it did. All right. So if you have had those feelings again, don't think that you're abnormal because you are not. But what are you going to do with how you have been feeling? What are you going to do with being anxious and afraid? All right, shaky, touchy, just being uptight and troubled, so overly careful and concerned and distressed and fearful, nervous, restless, scared, uneasy. What are you going to do with those feelings? Because again, now that you're seeing the show and now that maybe some things have come to light, now you need to be thinking about that. Wow, what am I going to do? Do I want to stay feeling this way? Because do you? Because only you can change you. All right. You cannot change your friends. You cannot change what their thought processing is. You cannot change what they're going to do, but you can change what you're going to do. You can show them this show. Okay. Tell them, hey, check this out and watch it. And then that might be a little bit easier for you to even say that, you know what, I need to make some changes. Because when other people see this and then they maybe see and recognize, wow, you know what, I have actually been that person as well. And now what am I going to do about it? Unless you like it, unless you like feeling the way you feel, unless you like having that insecurity and being so unsure and that you got to fit in and you want to do what everybody else is doing, you want to look like everybody else, you want to just keep thinking, well, everybody's better than I am and I could never do that, to almost to the point to where you become a victim. Okay. And you don't want to become a victim. And again, because when you don't change this, again, you take this into adulthood. All right. That's that's just the way it is, because you take that pattern with you take that life with you into adulthood. Now, again, this is not the same that you have had moments of being unsure. All right. That is totally not the same. Because, like I said, too, hey, doing this show, man, I gotta tell you, I was so unsure. I was so insecure, had that, still can. But look what I'm doing. I'm doing it, I'm here, and I'm going to keep doing it. Because the more that I'm doing it, and the same for you, the more you're going to do something in the right direction, that tends to help you calm down a little bit. It tends to take some of those feelings of being afraid off of you. Now, then it becomes less. Now, then you're less afraid. You're less insecure. You're less concerned. All right. And the concern comes with what other people think about you. Well, you know what? I don't want to wear this different outfit because then they might think different about me. Well, who cares? Right? You're probably going to look pretty cute in it, aren't you? Or for the guy, you're going to look pretty darn good. So, you know what? It's okay to wear that. So, don't just sit there and think that you have to be like everybody else, because guess what? No, you don't. All right. You are created for something better. You are created to be who you're supposed to be. So then be who you're supposed to be. All right. And I'm not going to say the be you. Oh, just go be you, because that is not even the same thing. You be who you're created to be. What are you going to do? First of all, acknowledge that, hey, I probably need to do some changing. It doesn't have to be all at once. All right. It can be something gradual. It can be just a little at a time. Okay. It's okay. Like I said, that you have an opinion. So if you do have an opinion, that's maybe something you can start doing is, you know what? I'm going to actually not wear my hair that way. I'm going to actually be different. I'm going to actually do something different that makes you feel good about you. Okay. That is okay for you to do that. You can encourage other people, because sometimes that actually helps you. Again, not to the point to where you're knocking yourself down because you don't feel you are good enough. Don't do that. All right. But when you say, hey, that was a really good hit, for baseball, for softball, for track. Hey, wow, you know what? You ran those hurdles so good. What was your PR? Start involving yourself and not being jealous that they were faster than you, not putting yourself in victim mode, because then that makes you become unsure of who you are, to start encouraging people. It doesn't mean you have to just encourage like the star player. You can encourage someone that maybe has sat on the bench and got in the game and played. And now you encourage them to say, wow, you did a really good job. Maybe that someone sits on the bench. I knew a girl for volleyball and she did not play the entire season. And I know most of you are like, oh my gosh, I totally would have quit. But you know what? She thought that same thing. But the whole time that she played, she encouraged her team the entire time. She never played. She didn't get in the game. She went to every single practice, but she never, ever played. And hey, girls, you know what I'm talking about. You get a coach in there and they only play the exact same girls. It doesn't mean that you cannot play volleyball, but the coach does not put anyone else in. So you know that feeling if you have sat the bench. And hey, you know that feeling too if you get to play all the time and you have girls sitting on the bench. You know that same feeling when you're in basketball, when you're in baseball, when you're in football, which a lot of teams for football, you know what, everybody plays because they need more players. So if you're thinking, you know what, should I not play football? Yeah, you should. Because some of these schools, they need people to be playing sports. And there's a lot of you teens that are pretty darn good in sports and you're pretty athletic and you're sitting home doing nothing, or you're on your phone, or you're just playing video games when seriously, your high school days are short. You should be out there, especially when you have the ability to be athletic, because not everybody does. And you do, and you're not participating, you really need to. Definitely do participate in some sort of sport when, like I said, when you kind of like it, when you know that you have an ability to do so because the team needs you. So I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. And sometimes you don't do it. Why? Because you're unsure. Well, I don't think I can play. Well, I'm not as good as them. Well, how do you know? You don't know until you get out there. And then guess what? Then you go to practice and then guess what? You get better, don't you? And you get better and you get better and you get better. And then you start to kind of like that. And then, like I said, high school time is so short. It's going to go so fast. And then don't be the person, you did not do anything because you were so unsure of yourself. You were so insecure. You were so afraid. You were so uneasy, distressed, fearful. All right. You were so those things that it kept you from playing sports and kept you from doing something in these 4 years of high school, or even, some junior high, because if this is teens, it's more than just 4 years, isn't it? Don't let all of those fears keep you from being and playing a sport that you want to try. Okay? Don't let that do that to you, because you will look back, I guarantee you will look back and say, wow, you know what? I should have. So many people go out for sometimes sports their senior year and then wish they would have done it their freshman year. So don't do that to yourself. Don't graduate and be thinking, wow, you know what? I really should have played sports, because you don't get that chance again. You don't get to do that later in your life. All right. You may develop a little team here, but it's definitely not high school sports, and you don't get to just keep playing high school sports for the rest of your life. Okay. So go out, participate, be active in that. And again, when I was saying about that girl, okay, being on the volleyball team and she never got to play, she was very happy that she then encouraged her team. She actually got an award, believe it or not, from the coach who acknowledged her. And it doesn't mean that, hey, you're going to get an award, because most of the time you're probably not going to, are you? But it made her feel good that she could encourage her team. And that's the point. That's what I'm trying to say. She didn't get to play. It was depressing, all of those things. But at the same time, she turned that into being able to encourage her teammates, to be the person there, always cheering them on. And that's the point. I see that all the time in sports. When I go to games, there's guys that sit the bench for baseball. There's guys that sit the bench for basketball. There's guys that, wrestle and they don't get to maybe have a meet because there wasn't anybody that was in their weight class. But those people are still encouraging their teammate. And that's what you should be doing. Because again, that time is short. That season is short. You don't get to keep participating in activities like that. That actually just even helps to build your character. It helps to build your self-esteem just to even encourage somebody else. that takes the focus off of you, because you're doing it in a way that's making you not be a victim in the poor you and poor me, and I'm never going to measure up and I'm never going to be good enough. So you need to get that off of you. So when I'm saying, what are you going to do about it? That's something you can do about it. All right. Is start encouraging other people, start becoming a leader, because most of you teenagers, I got to tell you, you're leaders, but because you don't think you are, because you're leading somebody somewhere. Always someone's following you. Hey, you have a neighbor, someone little, a sibling, even sometimes the older people, they are watching in the sense of like, wow, you know what, that's a really good kid. But be that person all the time, not just around adults. Okay, don't be the person that's trying to trick adults into thinking that you're this great, wonderful person, because, hey, your true colors are going to shine through. You cannot pretend to be this great person and not have your true colors of being a jerk shine through, because that definitely will eventually. And that's the same for guys and girls. So it will show. So you need to kind of remember that, okay? So when you're thinking about what are you going to do about it, you can let me know in the comments, okay? Think about what you've done, what has made you unsure, what has made you insecure. You really need to think about that. So whether you write it down, put it in your phone, in your notes, whatever it is, so that you can think about it and have that acknowledgement and say, these are the things that have made me feel this way. But I'm not going to hold on to those things, because this is who I want to be. All right. Because who do you want to be? Do you want to just be a follower, but someone's still following you? Do you want to just do things so you can fit in? Do you want to stand up, make a difference, show up? All right. Because in the midst of your showing up, you're showing up for yourself, really. And you're standing up for yourself. I definitely know high school days, yeah, can be tough, can't it? Yes. Yes, it can. That has not changed. And not every single person struggles to the extent of someone else either. Some people struggle more than others, and some people, you know what, they don't too much, but most people do. There's always something within someone. Nobody has it perfect and great, no matter how great their life seems to be. There's always something in there that they're struggling with, but you do not have to make that who you are. Okay. So with that, I think I'm just going to end our show right there. I do want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And there will be more shows to come.